Okay, so put that Zoom best practices link in the chat. Again, it has a lot of great stuff on it that options that you can do before the meeting, during the meeting, and after the meeting. So take a look at that list or bookmark it. And I'm going to go through setting up a meeting and the options within a meeting, not a webinar. If you have a licensed Zoom account, either through us or elsewhere, you have up to, typically for a business account, up to 300 participants, whereas a free or basic account is up to 100. And you have a 40-minute time limit with a free or basic account, whereas obviously if you upgrade to a licensed account, you have unlimited time. So if you do need an account, again, email me, I'll get you set up. And webinars are different in that you have a panelist that everybody can see, but the audience is not seen or heard. So you can still have a big event up to 300 people with a meeting. So it's not good, just for your monthly or biweekly meetings. It also can be good for an event. And I'm going to show you how to limit the chat, how to mute people to make sure that if you're using it for that bigger event, you're not getting a lot of disruptions. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is, to log in. So I've already, I'll just go back out quickly and sign in. So if you go to Zoom, whatever the login is that you're using, and I'm just going to sign in here through a Google method, but you can go through your email address and password. And I'm going to do this one, so many accounts. And it'll bring you to your meetings page. But if it didn't for some reason, or if you got off of it, you're going to go to meetings and then schedule a meeting and type in whatever it is that you're going to call that meeting. That will be public for everybody to see. Choose your date, choose your time. Sure, we'll do 9 p.m. for an hour. It sounds great. If this is your regular meeting, you can click recurring meeting. And obviously, you don't want to do that daily. So you would choose, let's say, monthly. You can choose when it occurs on, when you might want to end that. If it's just a one-time, don't check that. And then here's the really important thing, registration. You want to click required for a couple of reasons. One, because it's going to protect you from Zoom bombers, random people coming into your meeting, but also that's going to build your listserv. So Zoom is going to capture all those emails of people that are registering and save them as a CSV file, which you're going to be able to open in Excel or Google Sheets, and then import into Action Network if we set you up with an account, and you can bring it into your mail server. I'm going to show you how to import it into Google Contacts as well. You can choose a waiting room or not. If you do that, keep in mind, you're going to have to assign someone to be admitting people as they're coming in, which I just want to note that on our best practices sheet, we do recommend that you have, for bigger events, a run of show, and we have a sample run of show list in that sheet that's linked from our Story of Plastic screening. So you really want everybody to know what they're doing and when they're doing it. If it's just your weekly meeting or monthly meeting rather, you don't have to do that, but you might want to say, like, you're the tech person, I'm the host, you be co-host in case something happens, and watch the chat, making sure somebody's monitoring that. The rest of these, you can choose whether the video is on or off as people come in, but that's pretty much the major, just make sure I checked it. Yep, registration required. Okay, so I'm going to hit save. And then there's a couple different ways for my registration link to get out into the world. I could go through and make a calendar invite. Most of us are using Gmail and Google. So I'm going to click that and log in. It's going to say, can Zoom have access to my calendar? Absolutely. And then I'm able to invite who I want. And I'm not going to send this, but it will have the registration link. And I can set it to the time that my meeting is, and hit save, and it'll ask if I want to send that invitation to everybody. The other way, right here is what I think you're going to use. So if you hit copy invitation, it'll pop open this window. You can select or just hit copy meeting invitation, go over to your email, paste it in there, and then go ahead and send it to your group or your listserv that you're sending it to. And actually, I'm going to send this to myself right now because I want to show you what comes up for the registration. And of course, my Zoom squares are, hold on one second. Let me try that one more time. Okay, one more time here. Ugh, these Zoom squares, I can't hit the send button. Hold on, I'll get it. There we go. Okay. So when I click the registration, you'll notice it says first name, last name, and email address. So that's what's there by default. But I might want to add more fields. So if I keep scrolling down, you'll see this registration tab, and I want to go over here and hit edit. And now I can go to questions and add more options. So I might want to collect more than last name and first name, maybe phone number. I also may want to ask some custom questions. So if you're doing breakout rooms, just like we did, maybe you want to know beforehand which breakout room people want to be in, and then list the rooms. Once I create that, that will go into the registration, and people will have to fill that out to get the Zoom link. All right. Okay, so I'm going to see if there's, I think that is what I wanted to cover for before. And I'll come back in here for the report after the meeting. But basically that's going to take us all the way up to starting the meeting. So when I'm ready, let's say I wasn't already into that area, let me get my test, here it is. And then I can just click start when I'm ready to start that meeting. But because I can't run 2 meetings at once, I'm going to go to this slideshow where I have some screenshots. So when you're in the meeting, one of the first things that you'll want to do is, if you want to turn on closed captioning, which is called live transcription in Zoom, you're going to go to that bottom menu bar and you'll see live transcript. You'll see the little closed caption logo. If you don't, you're going to go over to the 3 dots where it says more, click that, and you'll see it in the list. You'll see right under live transcription, it says enable. And so you'll click that. And then the next thing that you'll want to do is, if you're recording, you're going to want to announce to everybody that you're going to be recording the meeting. And then the same thing, bottom menu, there's a circle that says record, and you're going to record to the cloud. So that will save the recording, and I'll show you where that lives. This little upper right-hand little screenshot is, if you don't see the record button again and you click the 3 dots, you'll see this menu here, and you can just choose record. And then you'll need to stop recording when you're done, so that it will render the recording. And this is a lot of great controls here under security, again, bottom of the menu. So as the host, you can choose whether you allow participants to share their screen, chat, rename themselves, unmute themselves. So if those settings weren't changed before the meeting, or even if they were, you can change them as the host. So if someone's presenting, you want to maybe disable the chat. Oops, did I just, okay. And then this is, if you click participants, you'll see at the bottom, there's an option to mute all. So that's another option if you're giving a presentation and there's some sound and somebody, you know, isn't muted, you don't know who it is, you can hit mute all. And then each participant's video. So this is like the Brady Bunch squares. Every single person has those 3 dots up in the top right of their video screen. And again, as the host, you can click that. You can choose to spotlight that participant for everyone. So a pin would mean that it makes that person's video big just for you. But if you spotlight it, it makes it full size on everybody's screen. So if someone's talking and presenting, that's a great thing to do. You can also make somebody else host. So if I had to leave right now, Alexis is already co-host, and I can make her co-host. I can also make her host, make anybody host. And then one other thing I wanted to show you that can sometimes be confusing. I didn't show you initially in those back in when I was creating the invitation, you can also set up screen sharing to allow everybody to screen share, but typically you do it in meetings. So if somebody else wants to share their screen, you can click that little hat next to the screen share button and choose multiple participants can share simultaneously, and that'll let someone else share their screen. And this, okay, so this is great in the chat. So if you click again, the chat, it'll pop up this window, the chat window, and you'll see the 3 dots. And when you click the 3 dots, you can choose as the host if participants can chat with just the host and the co-hosts, or they can chat with everyone or everyone and anyone directly. So that means they can pop stuff in the chat that everybody can see, but they can also choose a name from the menu and chat amongst each other. So again, if you're having a presentation and you want to limit that function for even just part of it, you can do that, and then you can undo it later on. Okay. So that, oh, and saving the chat. So that I actually, I'm sorry, I don't have a screenshot of that, but you can click at the, let's see if I can actually bring it up on, I don't think I can bring it up here, but in the chat, I believe it's the 3 dots, you can click and click save chat, and that will save it to your desktop. So now I'm going to go ahead to reports to show you where all of the registrants were saved. So if you had the meeting and now you want to take that registrant list and upload it, let's say, well, to Action Network or to Google Contacts, which I'm going to show you. So it may say reports here in your sidebar menu, but it's actually more likely in the path that I'm about to show you. So I'm going to sign in a little bit differently to a different account here. And it may be under here, under admin, in account management and reports. And then I'm going to choose meeting for a meeting report. And I can do a search. I can change these dates to search for whenever the meeting was. And here is my meeting that I had actually set up earlier in here. And I'm going to choose registration report, which is already selected by default. Click generate. Okay, I'm going to generate all registrants. And it's just taking a second. Okay, so there it is. I had created one earlier. And I am going to download that. It's going to download a CSV file. There it is. And I'm going to open it. Sometimes I think it already popped open. Okay, so here it is. You can open it in Google Sheets too. This just opened in Excel. And I'm the only registrant, the lonely registrant here. So it's going to be whatever registration questions I asked. Remember, I could have added more, but this was just what was default. And then I'll have everybody's names and emails. Again, if there's any other information, it'll already be sorted. And I can then take that. And if you're using Google and Gmail, you can get to Google Contacts by clicking the apps menu and then scrolling down to contacts. And it'll bring you here. And then I can simply click import, select that CSV file, and import my addresses, which is just that I was the only registrant. So there it is, that easy. And now I'll be able to, that will be saved for me to use in my Gmail account. And again, we will be rolling out Action Network and can show you how to import email addresses there as well. So the last thing I'm going to show you is the recordings. So if I recorded my meeting, I'm going to quickly sign right back into that other account where I know we have recorded meetings. So I'm going to go to recordings. All right, here's my cloud recordings. I can click on the one I want. And I can choose whether I want to download it as an MP4, or I can create a shareable link. So if I copy that, and let's say I write a follow-up email, I can then paste that link in there for people to see that portion of the meeting or the presentation. If I have a YouTube channel, I could go ahead and download that recording and then upload it to YouTube as well. All right, so I'm going to stop there. If anyone has a question that I didn't cover, or Alexis, if there's something I missed,